replied to join the euro. The small Baltic state could become the 18th member of the bloc as soon as 2014. The European Commission and the European Central Bank, they're likely to decide on the request in June. Joining us now is Erik Berdloff. He's the chief economist at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Erik, good to have you with us. Does it make sense for you, when looking from an economic perspective, to see Latvia joining the euro?
Well, absolutely. I think it makes a lot of sense for Latvia, but probably the most important thing has been that this has been the objective of Latvia for a long, long time, and I think it was an extremely important objective when they went through these very difficult years of the crisis.
Because they have the criteria to join. I mean, a budget deficit of 1.1%, government debt somewhere in the region 41% of GDP, GDP forecast 3.8%, 4% this year and next year, a little bit lower from 5.5% that we saw last year. But yet you see 56% of Latvians being against the euro, 35% for.
Yes, I think this is part of the story, of course, in these countries, in the Baltic states, but also if you look around in the other countries in the Nordic region, there is a lot of popular skepticism about the euro. But independent of this, I think it has been a tremendous strength to have this sort of outside anchor, this objective that they have all been able to agree on across the political spectrum. So yes, there is some skepticism, but I think in the end there will be support for this.
Hi, it's Stephen King here. I'm guest hosting this afternoon. I just wanted to ask you a very simple question, namely, if you look at Latvia's convergence criteria today, they look pretty good. In fact, very similar to those of Spain, perhaps in 2005. And doesn't that tell you in one sense that the convergence criteria look good as a snapshot, but things can go wrong? And one concern maybe that might exist for Latvia is, having joined the euro, it may then attract too many in the way of capital flows, capital inflows, and then distort its domestic financial markets.
Well, I think one should worry about capital inflows, but in the case of the Baltic states, they have been able to build their domestic financial systems. They're part of a Nordic integrated financial market. I think we shouldn't worry too much about these inflows coming back. Of course, they had, in a period leading up to the crisis, a very significant expansion, and several years of a very rapid credit growth. Yeah. I think they've learned a lesson from this, and also the regulators and supervisors are very much on top of this now. I think so I wouldn't be too worried.
Yeah. Erik, a lot of people, they've been tweeting in with questions regarding Latvia, and I just want to read out a couple of tweets for you and just get your reaction to them afterwards. At Texane ND tweets in and says, they're mad for thinking about joining. We've got more tweets. We have one here. That's a surprise. In the current climate, it would be a mistake for Latvia. That's at David Lowe, EFC. We have at Rep of Kelly tweeting in and says, with Italy, Portugal, Spain, and Greece going down the tubes, is Latvia insane? At Schlembo tweets in and says, how much are they prepared to give Italy, Spain, Portugal, Ireland, and Greece? If it's less than $1 trillion, forget it. And one last one, at J2 Loves Friday tweets in and says, will problems from other EU members, Greece, etc., pose risks to Latvia too? So you can hear a large majority of our tweeters, they're worried about whether it'll hurt Latvia if they have to participate in bailing out other economies.
Well, I think this is definitely a concern of the Latvians and the Latvian government, for that matter. It is something that the new entrants, if you take Slovakia or Slovenia, they all had not, I think, anticipated that they would be part of bailing out other countries. But I think you have to weigh this against all the benefits. You should remember that Latvia, as well as the other Baltic states, have been part of the Eurozone in a way until now, because they have been on these currency boards where your currency is fixed to the euro, and so effectively they didn't have much more freedom. There was just that they were not part of the decision making in Frankfurt. So,
Erik, you talked about all the benefits, but you haven't quite spelled out what those benefits are. Now, I don't want to be Eurosceptic, I'm not necessarily Eurosceptic, but I think it is important you should stress what the benefits are in reality, rather than simply talking about them in theory. So what are those benefits?
I think that's fair. So if you look at what happened to countries when they joined in the past, clearly the risk premium has gone down, so it becomes it's easier for companies to get access to capital. These countries have stabilized their interest rates and so on. So I think there are many benefits that come with entry for these countries.
Eric, thank you very much. Eric Badler, Chief Economist for the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Now, the world's largest automakers are descending on